everybody, and welcome to Latter-day Divers, where we dive into the words of ancient and modern prophets. My name is Will Perez, and this is episode 2 of You Missed This. Now, I know that section 77 of the Doctrine and Covenants and the book of Revelation in general can be pretty intimidating. So I personally really appreciate this comforting clarification by the prophet Joseph Smith. He said, "I make this broad declaration that whenever God gives a vision of an image or beast or figure of any kind, he always holds himself responsible to give a revelation or interpretation of the meaning thereof. Otherwise, we are not responsible or accountable for our belief in it." That being said, the Lord does reveal some beautiful interpretations of images and symbols in section 77 that I'm sure you've been diving into all week. For today's video, I just want to identify one powerful theme in sections 77 through 80 that fills me with
glorious purpose.
It is this: that the sons and daughters of God, the living, the dead, and the eternal, are all converging together for one mission: the gathering of Israel. That's it. If you're short on time today, you can totally go now. But subscribe first. But if you're ready to go a little deeper, then let's dive.
Sound 2 blasts of dive alarm, pass the word dive, dive.
Dive, dive.
So first of all, I just want to share one beautiful truth that I learned this week from my daughter Lillian. She's 6 years old. As we've studied about the beasts in the presence of God with the 6 wings and the 7 eyes and the 7 horns and how they have power to move and to act. Afterwards, I asked Lillian, "So what did you learn?" And she thought about it and said,
"Well, I learned that sometimes things that are ugly and gross can actually be nice and messengers for God."
And kind of random, but I think profound. There are sometimes things that maybe don't appeal to our senses or outside of our paradigm or prejudices that the Lord can actually use to teach us and can be messengers for what He wants to have happen in our lives if we keep an open perspective. So just the thought. And actually in section 77, there's a lot of emphasis on beings who serve as messengers for God. And specifically in the 6th and 7th seals, with without getting into details that we don't know about, can safely be categorized as relating to at least our day and beyond. We've got the 4 and 20 elders who are dead and are faithful in the work of the ministry. We've got the 4 angels that are sent forth. We've got the 1 angel that's ascending. We've got the 144,000, we've got the 2 prophets, and even John the Revelator plays a part. And there are a lot of other details that we could get into from this section, but ultimately, what are each of these groups engaged in? The work of the ministry. To commit the everlasting gospel to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. To seal the servants of the living God. To gather together the tribes of Israel and restore all things. To administer the everlasting gospel and to bring as many as will come to the church of the firstborn, to gather the tribes of Israel, to prophesy to the Jews after they are gathered. What an exciting work that the angels of God and the servants of God and the prophets of God are engaged in preparatory to the second coming of the Savior. After all, I remember hearing somewhere that
you were sent to earth at this precise time, the most crucial time in the history of the world, to help gather Israel. There is nothing happening on this earth right now that is more important than that. There is nothing of greater consequence, absolutely nothing.
I love the beautiful ending to the allegory of the olive trees in Jacob chapter 5 in the Book of Mormon. Yes, there's a lot of work to do. Yes, the laborers are few. But in the end, we actually read, "And the Lord of the vineyard labored also with them." And that's something beautiful that section 77 reminds us about. We are not alone in the work. Surely angels on both sides of the veil are assisting in the gathering. Elder Holland testified.
Usually such beings are not seen. Sometimes they are. But seen or unseen, they are always near. Sometimes their assignments are very grand and have significance for the whole world. Sometimes the messages are more private. Occasionally the angelic purpose is to warn. But most often it is to comfort, to provide some form of merciful attention, guidance in difficult times.
Section 77 reminds us that these messengers are ordained, that they have power to do this great work. And sections 78 through 80 remind us that so do we, and so are we. ordinary men and women. The Lord invites us to listen to the counsel of Him who has ordained you from on high. He reminds Jared Carter to go forth in the power of the ordination wherewith he has been ordained, proclaiming glad tidings of great joy, even the everlasting gospel. And he instructs Stephen Burnett, Go ye into the world and preach the gospel to every creature that cometh under the sound of your voice. Behold, this is the will of Him who hath called you, your Redeemer, even Jesus Christ. It is all the same work that we are involved in. And we go from section 77, revealing the angels and the messengers and the beasts, living and dead, who are engaged in this work, to sections 78 through 80, where the Lord calls regular people and also invites them to be engaged in the work. Elder Holland beautifully reminded us,
My beloved brothers and sisters, I testify of angels, both the heavenly and the mortal kind. And always there are those angels who come and go all around us, seen and unseen, known and unknown, mortal and immortal. In the process of praying for those angels to attend us, may we all try to be a little more angelic ourselves, with a kind word, a strong arm, a declaration of faith, and the covenant wherewith we have covenanted.
We'll close with the simple truth we started with, exemplified in these sections, that
there are angels among us.
Just kidding, but not really. The sons and daughters of God, the living, the dead, and the eternal, are all converging together for one mission, preparatory to the return of the Savior. And that is the gathering of Israel. And you can be one of those angels in the 6th and 7th seals in the latter days. Remember,
anytime you do anything that helps anyone on either side of the veil take a step toward making covenants with God and receiving their essential baptismal and temple ordinances, you are helping to gather Israel. It is as simple as that.
thanks for diving with me today. If not too personal, I would love to know in the comments below, when have you been attended to by angels in your life or ministry? Share with us so that we can be edified together. You are awesome. Remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video, share it if you haven't already. Thank you so much for helping it grow, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday on the 3rd episode of You Missed This.